Hey, it's Zlat! So recently, I've made a post on Reddit with some of the factions from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim represented on a political compass, and I got a lot of meaningless interest points, maybe enough to feel like I'm doing something. And since it's a semi-interesting and slightly niche topic, I decided, hell, I need to make a video about this. Imaginary politics in a game from 2011 will surely dominate the trending tab. Before we start, let me just say that I understand that most of the factions are apolitical and that we are just theory crafting here. Furthermore, the compass is a not ideal representation of one's opinion, not to mention the x-axis that sometimes represents economics and sometimes culture. But nobody's making 8 values memes, are they? Well, let me show you the complete compass first. Here, and let's start from the center. Very centrist, we have the College of Winterhold. Of course, I understand that a university that is not leftist is a foreign concept to a lot of Americans, but hey, they exist, at least in fictions, and you don't have to pay for this one. Of course, there's still some law and order, so they are teeny tiny bit authoritarian. Close to the center, but slightly liberal left-leaning, we have the Bard's College, occupying the same spot as most green parties around the world. The environment is relaxed and the artists are free-spirited. And they also, like most green parties, only talk, without actions. In the spot of every conservative party ever, we have the Companions. They are too a bit racist, despite claiming that they are not to mention their affinity for money, being just fancy mercenaries. And some of them just want to grill, I guess. The Stormcloaks are just their average national conservative party of unhappy citizens. Ulfric Stormcloak is basically just a hot version of Vladimir Putin combined with Viktor Orban with a pinch of Francisco Franco sprinkled into the mix. Skyrim belongs to the Nords, Spain to the Spaniards, and you know the rest of the tale. The main difference is that the Stormcloaks actually have balls to do something, unlike those mentioned. Also, unlike in Russia, I doubt there is much corruption in a booming industry that contains fish and a few potatoes. When it comes to economics, we see a free market society of small businesses and landowners. That puts the Stormcloaks as right-wing both culturally and economically. The rival of the Stormcloaks in 4th era Skyrim is the Empire, and it is still pretty authoritarian, but there are councils in which the rich may sometimes have decent influence. Economically, we have evidence of free trade being encouraged, but also of large government companies. Culturally, the Empire is still fairly tolerant, yet, after the Wild Gold Concordat and the fact that Talos worship is prohibited, they definitely don't seem as a liberal society. The Dark Brotherhood worships Sithis, the personification of nothing, the void, that is beyond anarchy. And the cult itself is still extremely liberal, only obeying their 5 tenets. Also, they recognize money as something useful, and that's why they are slightly right on the x-axis. The Thieves Guild are a slightly less anarchist and more capitalist faction than the Dark Brotherhood. Some libertarians say that they do not respect theft and there is no place in their society, but to that I have a very simple argument. Hire a better security agency. The main difference between libertarians and the Thieves Guild is that while most libertarians live in their rich parents' basement, the Thieves Guild lives in the sewers. Both are underground, I guess. The Blackbear Family is oligarchy personified. I'm convinced that Andrei Babiš has a photo of Maven Blackbriar in his wallet. Similarly, she has connections to many shady organizations, including the Thieves Guild, the Thalmor, and the Empire. And shady connections are no stranger to Mr. Secret Police here. Next up, the Thalmor. The government of the Somerset Isle is peak authoritarian right. We have the whole package here: eugenics, racism, genocide, ultra-conservatism, expansionism. I bet that they pronounce spaghetti as paschetti. Paschetti! And lastly, the Force Word. This placement might be wrong, but I don't know where should I put anarcho-primitivists. Maybe in a mental asylum.